So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter of verbalherb.com, and it is Wealth Wednesdays. And on the Demetra K Show, we like to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always do better. And so I like to say a big giant thank you and welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, but you are participants as well, because we do read your questions, comments, and concerns. So again, welcome to YouTube and Facebook. And on Wealth Wednesdays, we spend a little time talking to Walter, who is, in my opinion, and a lot of other opinions, a financial guru. He has worked with many people all over the United States, and probably, some internationally as well, from celebrities, the athletes, and just everyday people, right? So he has been able to help people change their financial lives for the better. And so that's why he spends this time with us to try to help us change our financial lives for the better, because we also know that there is no Black power without dollars, right? So we need more of that in our community. Not only do we need more of it, but we need to know how to keep it. And so today we are going to be talking about a video that I saw trending on, I start to say Popeyes, on TikTok. And we'll get into that in just a second. So Walter, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Getting ready for my trip. I'm excited. I'm all right. I'm chilling. Just trying to relax before I hop on this plane or planes.
Nice. All right. And so who's on here? We have Don't Tell Me. Don't Need No Man. Stop Telling Me I Do. How you doing? Jay the Informant, how are you? Rain Love, what's going on? And Brother Reggie, how you doing? So anyway, as I was, looking for something to talk about, I saw this particular video that I'm about to show you. A woman that goes by Joe Ortega on TikTok. She, I guess maybe she's a DoorDash employee, where she said she wasn't getting any food for her, but she was going on a DoorDash, I guess, run or whatever it is, and she was waiting for her order to be ready. It wasn't quite ready, but while she was waiting, she encountered a homeless gentleman, and she said he came up to her, and, she didn't know if he wanted food or money. And so she asked him, "Are you hungry?" He says, "Yes. Can you please get me, a 2-piece or whatever?" And so she tried to do that, and this transpired. JB1, Blackverse, how you doing? And Sunlight Roots Tracker, how you doing? So I'm going to show y'all the quick video, and then we can have a discussion from that point.
So this homeless man, I'm trying to order a 2-piece dinner for them. Well, may I speak to the manager? Oh. So I don't know when Popeyes don't let you order for him. He's asking for food.
No, ma'am, you can't do it.
Why? He's asking for food.
Ma'am, you can't do it. I don't care if you're recording me, baby.
May I have your name so I can let people know?
I didn't ask you for nothing.
Okay.
So again, as y'all saw there, she tried to order for the homeless gentleman, and the woman, I'm assuming it's the manager there, rudely, if you ask me, told her no, she could not order food for him. And he says that that's how she is. The homeless gentleman said that's how she is, that they do not allow people to buy things for the homeless. And Joe was more or less like, well, I mean, they're just, the guy was hungry, I'm just feeding him or whatever. So as I was watching the video, I'm thinking, well, Walter and I and you all on Facebook and YouTube, we need to have a conversation on how to avoid being homeless, right? Like, what's the best way to not be homeless? So I'm going to really quickly give y'all some statistics. it's about 500,000 people in the United States that are homeless. So that means that they are either temporarily sheltered in a transitional housing, so not really their own home, or living in abandoned buildings. Now, the reasons for homelessness is housing being sky high, right? Unemployment, poverty, and low wages. We know in many places in America, if not all places in America, some of the wages are super low. I know, like here in Texas, minimum wage is still like $7.25. Name me one place that you can, go and rent something for $7.25 an hour. Also, it says that 67% of the homeless population are single people, with 33% being families. And California, of course, is leading with over 150,000 people they say are homeless. I just tend to think that it's higher than that, with North Dakota being the least in homelessness. It says they have about 540 homeless people. Now, they said also that North Dakota is the fastest growing economy, and so they tend to be doing a lot better. And of course, where I am in Texas, it's about 27,000 homeless people, which I kind of find that strange, but what do I know? Now, of course, you guys know that Black people lead the most homeless demographics in the United States, being 40% of the homeless population, and we're only 13, roughly, give or take, depending on who you ask, 13% of the population. So disproportionately, we are in the most homeless group, if you will. And so also, which plays a role in that is crimes, right? So people get convicted of crimes when they get out. In a lot of cases, it's hard for them to rent places because they want to know if you've ever been convicted of a felony and things like that. And if you got to check, a lot of times people do not want to rent to you. And so it's very hard to secure housing. And so we are going to have a conversation about, homelessness and anything else you guys want to talk about. I should also say that New York is the second state with the highest population of homeless people at 91,000. And so let me see who else came on here before I give it to Walter. I see that he is writing, taking some notes. So yes, indeed, Brother Reggie says safe travels to Walter. He is going overseas tomorrow. And let's see, Pioneer, how you doing? Eunice, what's going on with you? Says, if I was the manager or the owner of the Popeyes, shoot me out the door, ASA. That's more money for Popeyes. How was that gonna hurt her anyway? Some people are just evil. And because, she has the power to do that, I'm going to say, no, don't give him, any food, which, I don't know what her deal was, but she seemed like she, was rather rude. And Pioneer says the obvious solution to not be homeless is learn how to buy and build your own housing. Very good point. And Eunice says she needs to be fired immediately. I totally agree, or at least have a stern talking to, because we don't need her to lose her job and be fired, but she definitely needs some customer service skills. Kid Grebo, how you doing? And Rain said, Demetra, I have bought food for the homeless all the time. I never announced that I ordered it and gave it to the homeless person when I left out of the business. So yeah, I don't think her name is Joe. When I say her name was Joe Ortega, I don't think it was her goal to say, hey, I'm buying something for the homeless. I think her goal was to say, look how this woman is acting when I'm trying to feed somebody who is hungry. So I think that's what it was. Pioneer said the homeless population is tied directly to the African-American population. So there is no surprise that North Dakota, who has few Black people, would have few homeless people. That is a good point. You also say those numbers are grossly undercounted. There are far more homeless people than those statistics convey. I totally agree with you. 500,000 only in the United States. Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me either, Pioneer. You also say, I didn't see the video, but I know a lot of managers don't want homeless people to be brought food because they don't want them hanging around the establishment. So, I mean, I can understand that too, but come on, I would venture to say that I've been hungry, but not like hungry to the point where I didn't know where I was going to get my next meal, right? So, I don't know. If I was the manager, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Of course, I might have a conversation with the homeless people, say, hey, you know what? I don't mind you guys getting food, but, just try not to loiter around here and all that kind of stuff. And Eunice, you say sometimes people just don't get it until they're in a situation. That woman needs to have more compassion. I totally agree. So, Walter, what say you? Hey, Chantel.
Jesus, I don't know. Where do you start? I mean, it kind of goes back. It goes back to all the things we talk about, all the things we tell you to do that can help you prevent from being homeless. I can tell you one thing, that the homeless situation is about to get much worse. And some of you are going to be homeless soon too. And maybe not like homeless to where you're going to be in your car, but a lot of people are finding that their landlord is wanting to convert that property into something more profitable for them. I know, and I'll just keep it 100. My sister helped me. Matter of fact, she went by there today. We're looking at buying a building in Houston. It's a shit show. People, they paying $350 a month up in there. It's 21 units. They should be paying 600, and the building hasn't had any work done to it. So the guy's selling it cheap. So the real estate agent told me, and his words were, "You can buy this for next to nothing, fix it up. You can buy it for 400. You put $200,000 into it. You rent it out. You raise the rents to 600. It'll be worth $1.5 million. And so my question to someone like me is, do I look for another way to make $700,000-$800,000, added to my net worth, by going to another building? And then if I don't go to this building, somebody else is going to buy it. And that's kind of the problem. And so you find a lot of people in real estate are trying to make a living and secure their future. And they're buying a lot of buildings that are just a wreck. I mean, some of these buildings that we're looking at, these tenants are going to be gone anyways. But somebody comes in, buys a building, and the rents are $350 because it's a crap hole, and they fix it up, and now they want 600. Some of those people are going to be in a position where they can't afford it. So
yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to take this. And James, how you doing? And who else came on here? Felicia, how you doing? And Bot Israel, how are you doing? And so Pioneer, he says a lot of people are already homeless. They just aren't on the street. They are living with relatives and not paying rent, sleeping on the couch, on the floor, or in their cars in the driveway. And that is absolutely true. So a lot of people in that situation who have jobs, they just can't afford regular housing. So you are absolutely correct. And I wonder if they even count those people. Cortez, how you doing? And Rain says, I live in New York City. The homelessness is real. I bet it's so expensive to live out there. And California and New York are running neck and neck.
So, I mean, it always goes down to the basics. One, you need to stack money away. I mean, there's some people that are doing okay financially. When I say okay financially, I mean they're making money. They don't have any money saved. I can give you case in point. We're not two case, but what could have been. So the the house that I live in right now, I rent this place, right? My rent is below, it's $1,000 below marketplace. And so when I went to look at buying this place, my mortgage was going to be more than my rent. And some Chinese company bought this house and they rented it out. So I rented it for cheap. So, and then I own, I buy real estate in other areas. But the person that owns this house came to me and was like, "Hey, we're going to raise the rents. We want to go from, we want to raise it $1,000. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Neither are you. And here's why. Here are the rules. I just understand what the rules are. But what if he could legally raise my rent $1,000? And what if I didn't have it? See, a lot of people out there think it's cool to live check to check. Just have enough money to pay your bills. Oh, I'm doing fine. We're doing good. And you're not saving 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% of your money. And some of y'all think it's cool to do that. And then when something comes up, like they raise your rent, and then you can't make the rent. And then you out. That's happening to a lot of people that consider themselves in a good position. Another thing too, right now, like if I was looking to rent a place, like let's say I was going to start over, right? I wasn't saving money. I didn't have any property or nothing I could sell. And I had to move, and then I had to go, because then what happens is, when you move, your security deposit, they don't give it to you right away. They have so long to keep it. And so now you got to go find another place, give them a security deposit. So if your rent is $2,000, you're spending $4,000 to $6,000 to get into a new place while they hold on to your old deposit. So you know what I'm saying? That's a $6,000 to $8,000 move. Let me ask you a question. How many of you guys have $6,000 to $8,000 that you can write, not own, not to buy, just to rent? Just to rent some shit.
And never mind the U-Haul. U-Haul ain't what it was back in the day. You got to pay it, per mile. And so you got to be strategic in how you drive, right? Gone are the days of you going all over. Your mama talking about, oh, can you help me move this couch? Why you got the U-Haul?
Yeah. Hell no. We're going a straight line there and back. So you want something move, bring it here and pitch in. So you have that, utilities. Now utilities companies are running your credit. Like if you want to get your lights, all that stuff, utilities on, they run your credit and they want a deposit. I know even when I moved to Texas and I bought the house there, the lady goes, we don't have record of you in our system, da-da-da-da-da. We want, a few $100. I was like, well, you can run my credit. She goes, well, no, we just give us a deposit. We'll get to know you and we'll give it back. And that's kind of okay. So, and the list goes on and on and on. It's all the utilities. It's the phones. Hopefully you don't have a home phone no more, but it's all those things that you have to come up with, and that's just finding a place to live, right? So, and Lord forbid you lose your job or get hurt or something happens to you. So there are a lot of people that are going to be homeless that are doing well. They're not doing well, but they're making money. And so they consider themselves doing well. Like if you don't have first and last say for your next apartment or house, you are in bad trouble. My health is doing good. I'm about to do a 21-day cleanse and a bunch of stuff after I get back from Europe and yada, yada. So it's going down. So anyways, back to what I was saying is you need to have enough money saved in case you have to move. The popular thing right now on the internet and YouTube is how to buy a house and raise the rent. Matter of fact, Grant Cardone, somebody I follow, his thing is to buy an apartment building, fix it up, raise the rents. The riffraff needs to go. And that's kind of the term that a lot of people use in real estate. They do it because they're trying to make a profit. And so they're trying to make a profit. And so what are they going to do? They're going to get rid. They're going to, if you're in there paying, and by the way, you guys, if you're in an apartment building and you ain't paying no rent, can you really feel bad if the landlord raised the rent on you? I mean, you sitting in a place and you paying $800 a month because the landlord ain't raised the rent and he's 94. Sooner or later, he's going to be gone in a retirement home or dead. And you're going to be looking for a place to live. And it kills me. Like I've run into people that get Section 8, which I don't understand how that works. And I hope I never do. But they're paying Section 8. They got a decent job. They got a luxury car and got no money saved. And you ain't paying no rent, no bills. That's your fault. 100% your fault. So in a situation like that, we're not talking about crackheads and people doing drugs. We're just talking about everyday people that are living their life. And it's like, hey, we need to raise the rent on you. Oh, you've been living here 4 years and now we're going to raise the rent. The rent's going to go from $800 to $1,600. I know for a fact there are a bunch of real estate investors that are looking at old buildings and they're going to buy them and raise the rent. And here's why that's going to work for them. Because you have people that were in a position to buy a home and the interest rates went from 3 to 6, 3 to 5, and they're no longer in a position to buy a home, but they do want to move. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to take your spot. So you paying $1,000, the landlord fixed it up, and now it's worth $1,800, and they'd rather pay $1,800 and keep their down payment on their home. Those are the people that's coming for your place. I promise you. And so we're going to see a lot of that and a lot of that. And really, it's the fault of a lot of the people because you knew this was coming. I mean, you can go, I watched a video today in the Airbnb. They had the sad music playing. The Joshua Tree were building an Airbnb. And they're like, oh, the Airbnb people are kicking out. They're buying all the Airbnbs and there's no place for the people that live here, which is baloney. Because first of all, if you out that part of the world, you got the land for free. You ain't been paying rent. You're not saving money. You're just out there just smoking crack, kicking it. That's your fault. It's something in America called free enterprise. And it's how, no matter what color you are, how you get ahead. So if you're sitting on a piece of property and you paying rent for 10, one lady was paying rent for 20 years. I'm like, it never dawned on you to buy that place or buy something. So we have to go into that mindset, you guys. I promise you, it is coming for you. If you are paying rent right now and you don't own a home, one day this is going to happen to you. Because all those homeowners that had all this potential to buy, they're now renting. And they're coming for your spot. So my thing would be to get some reserves. If you got stuff that you're not using, sell it, liquidate. Always be in a position where if your landlord says, hey, you got to go, you say, okay, cool. I'm not leaving in 30 days, but I could do it in 60. And then you have, and good luck finding a place to rent, by the way. But let's say you could do it. You would have some time to go out and find a place. Matter of fact, I don't know if you can notice, but I got my hair cut, my mustache trimmed. My barber says he's paying $2,100 for a one-bedroom apartment. This is a guy that cuts my hair. Is spending $25,000 a year on a one-bedroom in California. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. $2,100 for a one-bedroom. What about his utilities, his car, his gas, his food? It's going to cost this dude $40,000 a year just to survive.
I know people, and thank you so much, James. I love and appreciate you for that. And to all my members and everybody who's liked the video, everybody, thank you so much. I know a lot of people are actually having this, they've kind of been doing it, but have to move in with each other now. They just can't afford to be on their own, especially people in California. I know people who are like completely working pretty decent jobs, but they cannot afford to, live in a house or even apartment by themselves. Like you said, a one bedroom, $2,100 easily out there in California. And, in a lot of other places in the country, it's starting to get like that to where it's just ridiculous. And so people are like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and, get the band together, and rent something so we can stack our cash. But I also saw an article that said homeowners are actually losing money now because the market is starting to cool off a lot. So, but like I said, you still have those high interest rates. Asha, how you doing? Dorothy, what's going on? We love you too, James. And Yoni, how are you doing? Yanni, I should say. And Carlette, how you doing? It says a 65-year-old disabled female veteran was beaten by Sacramento City Police Department and was evicted after 6 years of paid rent on time. She was accused of criminal activity, yet the Mexican spat in her face. Lord have mercy, I haven't heard anything about that. But, like Walter said, we got to get in a position to where we could buy something. Anything right now. She says New York rent dumps are $3,000. Yeah, easily, right? Especially in New York.
So, you guys, here's the deal. I'm gonna go into Joe Biden mode for a second. If you still dream about owning a piece of property, that's your fault at this point. You guys, buy you a piece of land. I don't care. Own something. Let me tell you this. You can buy property in Mississippi, Texas. You can buy. Do you remember we went to that neighborhood before I bought the lake house and we saw that little slit on that facing that little lake? Me, you, and Deanna went, and there was a little piece of property. The first time we went out there, the guy wanted $10,000 for this piece of land, and it was small enough for a tiny home, and it had a little lake in front of it. Remember that house or that piece of property? It was $10,000. And so I thought, I went and looked at it. It wasn't big enough for a big house. You were going to have to put a small house on it. But for $10,000, you could buy that piece of property and you could park your trailer on it and shit they could do about it. Because it's your land and you roll your trailer up there and it's yours. Even if the city tried to make you move your trailer or the homeowners association, it would take them years to get rid of you. You ever see a house that's got shit all in the front yard and cars parked everywhere? It takes them years to clean it up. So the point I'm making is buy some shit. You can buy a piece of land for $5,000, $2,000 in Mississippi or Louisiana. They selling that an acreage over there, or however they say it, the Geechee man down there. You can buy it for $2,000. Shit, some of y'all family members own real estate and ain't nothing sitting on it. Like, oh, I got land in Mississippi and it's just sitting there and ain't nothing happening with it. Well, you dumb as hell. You got a piece of property and I can see if you got plans in the future, but it's just sitting there and you ain't. Come on, y'all. Because if you own a piece of land and you park your shit on it, you'll never be homeless. Period. Even if you got to put a sleeping bag on your land with a tent, it's your property. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep. And let's address Yanni and how you doing once again. She's got an excellent point here. She says the Mexicans here in Louisiana are buying and remodeling these old torn up houses for their families. And guess what? They know how to do that. Because they just, have learned those trades or they never forgot them. And they can build a house on their own, get their homies together, and they can gut the house and put it all back together. And voila, they got them a nice piece of real estate. Like you said, it was torn up and, everybody else looked at it and was like, yeah, I'm going to pass on it. But they're like, nah, we can have this done in 2 weeks. So.
You know what the thing is? We can hire those Mexicans and have them do the work with us and for us. I got a Mexican in my garage right now outside working on my cars. Period. I got 2 of them. And I don't give a damn what color they are. If it's Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, whatever it is, work with them. If you see somebody, they'll tell you, we roll up on somebody quick in the neighborhood. Matter of fact, we walked to your hood that time, and who was sitting in the car in that $50,000 Infiniti? The Mexican man. And I was like, so what's going on? He was like, I don't know. I said, okay, I get it. You don't want to let the cat out the bag. You've been doing this for years, and now you don't want this to spill all your shit. And he said his parents gave him the money to buy the block. Like, damn. And he's sitting there just chilling with the AC on, just cold chilling.
Yeah, like you said, he didn't want to, he was kind of, my face is pixelating a little bit. He didn't want to give us the game. He was like, well, and if, Walter's good at what he does. So eventually, he started to talk. But, at the same time, though, he was gatekeeping the information because had that been one of his people come up, he would have, told them the ins and outs. This is what you need to do. Because they believe in buying the block and, keeping it for themselves. And so we need to do that as well. A property I went and looked at today, it's a pretty big property, needs a lot of work though, but somebody else is going to get it. But the neighborhood it was in, there was a lot of other people who had gentrified, built nice new homes or refurbished the homes in the area. So I'm like, it's a matter of time before somebody does it to this house. And so, I mean, at this point, it's like either we do or we don't. But, and also speaking to the homelessness and the rental situation, the rental wars rather, is just as bad as the home buying wars. Like there's people out there trying to bid on rentals and, having to do some, extra tricky stuff to get it. And I'll give you an example of me. I was looking to have to move last year, right? And so I was looking for a place to live and I just kept getting outbidded just to rent. And so Walter was like, well, tell him you'll give him, double the deposit. So I said that. I said, hey, I'll double the deposit, if you'll let me, get the place or whatever. And it worked. So people are having to be creative to do those type of things. So it's pretty rough out there.
It's going to get rougher. So, and taking a couple steps in my notes, if you guys have good credit, there's no reason why you don't own a crib. Or buy a piece of land. You could buy the Bates Motel. Like in my motto is the shittier, the better. I want the toe up house. Look like somebody just dropped a bomb on it and kept it moving. I want that house because most people don't have the vision to buy that. And here's the other thing too. While we're talking about the Mexicans and that Mexican man that was sitting in his porch, you mentioned that he's telling his people. Do you know that I told our people, remember when I bought that house in Texas? I don't even live in Texas. I'm sitting in California right now. I had a house in Texas. And I told everybody, yo, Texas, where you live is cheap. Let's go get it. And not a soul, not a motherfucker moved. And so when it comes to the Mexicans doing it, you got black people telling you. But at the end of the day, We got to pull the trigger. We got to pull the trigger. You guys, we bought that house. It has, I mean, there's 300,000 in equity in that crib right now that we bought last year in July. 300 grand in equity in that spot right now. I mean, like, even if you only did that and you sold that crib, which I intend to do, take the 300 grand and buy some apartment buildings. Even if you had 2 units, or a 20 unit building, you can buy a 20 unit building. That building, they want $16,000 a door for that place that I sent you to today, or something like that. It's 21 units, and it's a guy. It's I don't know, maybe 21,000, whatever it is. It's
21.
Huh?
If yes, 21.
So,
or maybe like 27 or something, roughly around there.
So they're asking $500,000 for 21 doors, but the dude told me they would take 4. Not only would they take 4, they'll carry the mortgage, which means if we come up with the down payment, he will loan us the money to buy his own property, which means he'll carry the financing so we don't have to deal with the bank. All we got to do is come up with 100 grand. That's it. And we don't need to take notes from the Mexicans. We need to do what we need to know how. We need to do what we know how to do.
Well, I think he's saying, take notes, and I agree with them.
No.
Yeah, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Why are they moving the ball and we are not? So,
I mean, I understand take notes from them, but how many times we got to take notes? How many times you got to go to class? Right? The Mexicans, it's easier for black people to buy real estate than those Mexicans you talk about, because they don't have no paperwork, they don't have no citizenship, no social security numbers. They coming over here and they're buying these properties, they're coming together and they're buying them. And if you roll up on one of those properties, most of them don't even have paperwork, but yet they're doing it. We have paperwork, we have everything. So the Mexicans are just doing what they're just doing it. But I think the Mexicans that we're talking about, they have more fear because they come from a country where they could get killed or they could get arrested or doing something. They don't have rights. So when they do get over here and they realize that revenue equals rights, they make moves. They're scared. I was in Mexico 3 weeks ago when all the shooting and all the stuff was going on, and everyone's like, "Oh, you need to escape. It's dangerous." The cartel, they were blowing up cars. I said, "Man, they ain't worried about us. We in the club." Man, they worried about each other. But those people, when they come over here, they're afraid. They're scared like you need to be. And so they get over here and they just move. They don't care that it's hot. It's 110 degrees. Who gives a damn? It's 110 degrees. So what? Who cares? It ain't that hot. You can't make moves. So the point I'm making is buy you something, even if it's a shit show. This place that we're living in, that we're not living in, me and Dee looked at, people are living in it. It's a crap show, right? Would you live there? It's the Bates Motel. Only thing missing is Norman.
It's the Addams family house.
Their house was nice, but no, it's the Blue House. It's a wreck. But we could buy something like that for $400. Get a dude $100,000. Let's say we didn't have 100. How do we get it? My sister got good credit. I got good credit. I called my homies, my friends. Hey, you got good credit. We're buying this Blue House. I had one of my other homegirls. She hit me up. She came over for dinner last week. Was like, "Yo, I want it on the Blue House." Me and her went online. I showed her the Blue House, and she goes, "You know what? We just sold one of my properties. We inherited it from my pops, and we divided it up like 12, 9, 10, 59 ways. It was crazy." And she's like, "Okay, I want to parlay. I want to move. What's next?" So we could, like, coming up with 100 grand is not shit. If you got 10 people in the conversation and we form an LLC and we say, "Hey, we own this crib, we're going to buy it. And we're going to do whatever we got to do without breaking the law to get this money." Period. So I dig on my credit. She dig on her credit. We all dig on our credit. We take the money we have saved. We come up with the 100 and we hand it to homeboy. He give us the deed. He keep the promissory note and we pay him, and we can pay him until we get a bank to give us the money. So we buy a property that is 400 grand. We give him 100, so we only owe 3. Then we fix it up. We can either finance it, fix it up, borrow money, get your Home Depot, Lowe's card. The Home Depot and Lowe's, those cards are easy to get. And you go get the materials, and you get the people, and you go fix it up. And boom, You got 200 grand in it, hella high water. I don't care how you get the money. And now the building is worth 1.5 million because now it's rented. Do the math. What's 21 times 600? There's $12,000, right? Leave one empty because we got to put a jacuzzi and a spa. We're going to hook it up. So only one is empty. One is empty. But that's $12,000 times 12. That's 144,000 a year. At a 10% cap rate, that's 1.4 million bucks. Period. That's real estate 101. You buy a shitty property that the tenants in it, it's a wreck, it needs work, and it's got no tenants, so it's worth 400. You fix it up, fill it up, now it's worth 10 times or whatever, depending on where you live. The rent, it's 1.5 mil. That's how you go from 600,000 in it to 1.4 out. We got 800 grand in 12 to 18 months. $800,000 that's now part of our monopoly money. And we do it again, and we do it again, and we got, you understand, we're multimillionaires as a group. It's not complicated.
Can you answer this question to DJ Charisma? How are you doing? He says, great evening, Aunt Demetra and Mr. Walter, aka Uncle Walter. I bought my house at 23 and I would like to buy another house. What should I do about hospital bills that are killing me financially?
Well, one, it depends on how much equity you have in your house, right? Do you owe money on it? Is it worth 300 and you owe 120? You got options, right? And, you can hit me up, something like that without digging into your business. You can hit me up if you're real serious, ready to go. I mean, emailing me stuff and getting me what you need. I can help you because hospital bills are there. You got to deal with them sooner or later. But the good thing about hospital bills is they like to settle. Your hospital bill's $1,000, they'll gladly take 300 because hospital bills are one of the hardest things to collect, period. So
that is true. Mm-hmm. Hello, Entree. How are you doing? So you say you're moving to Texas. What part of Texas are you moving to? And Jan Michael, how are you doing? You say, hey, greetings. What's the additional $20K for financing charges?
What's the additional 20 grand for? What 20? I didn't understand the 20K.
It's probably something you said. It's okay. Jan Michael, can you kind of fill it in a little bit? Because, we be talking and be forgetting stuff. And then Yanni says, in Louisiana, you can buy land if the taxes were not paid in 3 years, just pay the taxes.
Yeah, that's a tax lien sale. It depends. They got to go 3 years without paying their taxes, and they give them an opportunity to catch up. I mean, it's some things involved. But yeah, if they ignore the property, they don't pay the property taxes in 3, 4, 5 years, and you paid the taxes, and you can buy that note, assuming there's not a bank in first position, because the bank most likely will pay those notes, pay the taxes for them, and then just you'll get your interest. So that's how those work. But in the meantime, in between time, just buy your own shit. Buy your own shit. Get you a piece of land. Matter of fact, some of y'all know people with land. I tell you, I didn't realize how powerful it was to own. And I've owned real estate in the past, me and my sister, but we weren't owning it the right way. Now owning it this way, having the power of knowing that you have a piece of land, and if you've got water and electricity on it or next to it, you could put one of these tiny homes, man. Some of these things, man, Home Depot is in the tiny home business. For like 10, 15 grand, you could buy one of these sheds and you can live in it with a sink, a little kitchenette, a little shower, man. They got these showers now that you plug into one of those heat packs and one of those propane little tanks that you can buy on Amazon, and man, you turn it and you got hot water, cold water, and it's like $300 and a hose and a shower, man. And you got a shower. People are figuring it out. And you guys, and it's not just people that just need help. There are people with money who are doing this shit. People that got money stacked to the sky that look at their spouse and say, hey, babe, we're about to move into this tiny home. We're going to do it for a year. We're paying $2,000 on this mortgage. We're about to buy this piece of land, and we're going to buy this $50,000 or $40,000 home, and we're going to pay $400 a month. And that's $1,600 we're going to save, and we're going to get an extra job. And in 12 months, we're going to come out, and we're going to move into the Black community, and we're going to buy their shit. Gentrification. Those are the conversations that people are having. Period. You can order a tiny house on their website with MasterCard, Visa. I mean, Man, you can buy a house on your credit card. Like, come on now. Like my sister D right now, she got a bunch of credit. She got credit to the sky. My shit is maxed out. I'll tell you up front. Somebody say we'll loan you money at 10%. I put that shit somewhere and get 50 on it. Man, I use my credit, man. I got this Amazon card right here. I'm trying to figure out how to max this shit.
Oh, I can help you. I got a cart on Amazon if you want me to go ahead and get it going for you.
I'm ordering shit on Amazon and I'm gonna put that shit to work. You best believe I'm flipping it. But the point I'm making is, if you got credit, you can borrow and you can buy a house on your credit card, and then you pay your credit card over 50 million years, however long it takes you to do it, right? And I hear people saying 20% down. Yeah, that's a traditional purchase. But you guys, there's some sellers out there. Like we have this thing called deferred maintenance in real estate, where you drive past a house and you go, oh shit, the yard is to the sky, the house is falling apart. They can't afford to live there. So I'm gonna make them an offer they can't refuse. Not like an offer they can't refuse, but like, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I will buy this house. I will fix it up, and I will cut you a check, and I will help you find somewhere else that you can tear up. But this tore up house, if you look around the corner, you see the builders. Like when you see dump trucks and people, construction trucks and people working in the neighborhood. I don't know how many of those you saw today when you drove around, but you see like a nice house next to a shitty house. What do you think is going to happen to that shitty house sooner or later? It's going to be a nice house, right?
And what happens to the cost of living around there? The rent?
All the rents go up because now house number 1, 2, and 3 have been fixed up. Number 4 is fixed up. And you guys, people that have shitty homes have trouble living around nice stuff. So sooner or later, they will leave. So with that being said, what you need, I don't know where this damn light keeps coming from, but that being said, you need to be the monopoly man. Acquire. I don't have a soft spot for people that blame capitalism for them being broke. I don't. People say, oh, Airbnb, they're buying up the short-term rental so we don't have a place to live. You could buy a house instead of somebody buying it for Airbnb. When I'm selling my house, I don't care if you're Airbnb-ing it or not. I just want the money for it. The problem is the people that are buying properties for Airbnb, they got a business plan. They're on YouTube. They're doing the work. So they're going in with the strategy. They're not breaking the law. They're not breaking any rules. There's nothing more about buying a house and putting it on Airbnb. Period. The problem is people, they're asleep. You know that house, Pookie and them, that house has been for sale. It's falling apart. It's been over there 20 years. And y'all could have went over there and offered Pookie and them a check, and you didn't. So somebody else did, and now they're going to fix it up. And now they own that house, and they're coming for you. Because that's what I would do. 100%. So you guys, in the tiny home movement is the business. It's the new business.
Yeah, I saw a real estate agent. I guess she's kind of a big time real estate agent or whatever. Right before we came on here, she said she's living in one, and it was tiny. I'm like, that's a little tiny for me, but I guess you get used to it, right? Because you think about it. Think about yourself in your house all day long. Like I'll take me for an example. I have a 3-bedroom house. It's just me and my daughter, and one of the rooms I converted into the office where I'm at now. I spend most of the time in here, and if I'm not in here, it's probably because I'm in my room getting ready to go to sleep. I might sit in the living room every once in a while with my daughter and watch a movie or something like that. But for the most part, I would say, I don't know, 75% of my waking moments are here in this one little space. So yeah, I guess I probably could live in a tiny house if I had to. Thunder, you have a question, and Chantel, it is our pleasure. Thunder, you say, does having a standby generator like a Generac, will this improve the home value?
Hell to the yes, because they don't have to buy it. And because they are buying your home with the Generac there, they can finance the whole home purchase. And you could get more for it. Right? Period. I buy a home, like the house I'm in right now, and one of the reasons I really won't leave is got solar panels. And it's 110 degrees right here in California right now. And I don't care how hot it gets. My utility bill is not going to be over $50. I don't care. I'm whispering like I don't want my neighbors to hear. We all got solar panels. I got some tenants up in my house. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to know. No, but no. So the generator is the move all day long. Generator, solar panels. Like if you have a generator and they have the Generac, you can plug up to a propane. You can do, I think it's a 500 gallon or 5,000 gallon. Dion, if you remember, I was looking at putting a big giant propane tank on the lake house. So that and the Generac, and the guy goes, if you lose power, that propane tank will run this house for months. Now you ain't gonna be up in here in the jacuzzi, and you ain't gonna be partying, balling out. But if you just talking about basic utilities, oh, you can stay in here for months with that propane tank. Period. And you know what some people are doing? They got 2 propane tanks. There's no rule on how many propane tanks you can have on your property. So as I get my wealth and it starts building, I look at my main property and I go, okay, we got a giant propane tank. We got another and we got another. So if we get a cold winter, we need to go 3 or 4 months without electricity. I have a generator and propane tanks that would keep this house warm and our food for months. You understand? Bring the goats and the cows inside. Y'all come on inside. It's going to be cold out there for a while, right? We got a little room for y'all over on the other side of the house, a little barn we built for y'all. We're going to keep it heated, and we're going to eat you sooner or later. Wow. Stay warm until we eat you. I mean, that's how people think. So start by getting you a piece of property. Get your credit up. You guys pitch and you go buy something. That's it.
So Facts Not Feelings, how are you doing today? He says, sorry, man. Unrestricted capitalism is good for the few and horrible for the many. And yeah, Pioneer says unrestricted capitalism is suicide for any nation. So what are your thoughts on that?
You know my thoughts on that. I'm a capitalist. 100%. Do you guys think about this? Do you know, like, these, Jonathan calls them the dummy crats. Do you know what they're proposing right now? Taking away physical fiat currency. Where my money at? I feel like Chris Tucker. They're talking about taking this shit away. Like, so can you imagine not being able to, people that have to spend cash or use cash to get things done, like, boom, it's just all digital? They're the ones pumping this oxygen into the air about capitalism. Capitalism is the reason why me, a young black man in this country, can build a business without telling somebody my race, my background. I don't care if my mom and dad were Bonnie and Clyde and robbing banks and sticking them up to the left and the right. Capitalism allows me to build my credit and buy some shit, regardless of my background, race, creed, any of that. If once capitalism becomes restricted, then they start laying down the rules. You guys have to, like, I understand what we say. Unrestricted capitalism it doesn't discriminate. It does not discriminate. So we have to cut the shit about capitalism and socialism. I've been to Cuba, Brother Pioneer. Trust me, you take your ass to Cuba or you go to some of these communist countries, you'll be back over here so fast you'll have a seat for capitalism on your shirt. Trust me. I've been in countries where it's socialist. Those people are swimming across the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean to get their asses over here to experience unrestricted capitalism where they can take a banana, plant a seed, grow a tree, sell some bananas, buy some milk, start a store, buy a Mercedes. Period. That's how unrestricted capitalism works. I think what you guys are trying to say is the rich are just having their way. But there's nothing, solar panels have worked at hell to the yes. The rich, somebody in their family got rich. Somebody did, yes, and Pioneer, it will lead to some kind of slavery. I intend on having some slaves. If I gotta choose, be a slave or come on, I'm just keeping it real. And I'm not talking about, Toby, what's your name? I'm talking about, like, when I think of slaves, I think about people that go to work and punch a clock. That's the last time I was a slave. I was getting up. Oh, man, I need a day off. No, we need you. Can I have a day off for Labor Day? No, we need you. I'm talking about that slave, right? Those people are slaves, period. It is my job to start a business, create a business, and pay my slaves. So yes, it leads to slavery. But whose fault is that? Like, my assistant is in the house, Asia. She's in here somewhere, bored in the house, bored. I don't know what the fuck she's doing. But She walked up here and handed me a stack of cash. She was like, I want to invest. I want to get in the car business. She got a car outside right now. We're working on it. She's like, oh, we got to fix it. You in the game now. That is unrestricted capitalism. A chick that was damn near homeless a year ago that is living in a gated community that has a car outside she about to flip and make $1,000. That is unrestricted capitalism. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know her social security number. I probably should get it. But if we add restrictions, you get the Joe Biden shit and all that stuff. Okay, now you guys, do you realize I went to a bank yesterday, not deposit on my own account. I deposited money in my friend's account to buy a car. Like I put money in his account. Do you know they asked for my social security number, my phone number, what I did for a living, all that shit. I said, is it really necessary that you need all my information and I am giving somebody money? It's not even my account. I'm putting money in somebody else's account and you need all my shit. That is restricted capitalism. Oh, nigga Joe Bangle and them walked into a bank and put in $10,000. Excuse me, Mr. Nigga Joe Bojangle. We need to talk to you. What you mean? Nigga Bojangle, can you be here at 6? And since we are the federal authorities, we need you to be here at 6. And you go up in there, Mr. Nigga Bojangles, you put $10,000 and 100 into the bank. What happened? Well, wasn't my money? Said, well, how did he get it? Well, how did you get it? And you answering a bunch of questions. That is restricted capitalism. Be careful what you ask for. Don't let these blue fools get you wrapped up in this shit. And AOC and Nancy Pelosi, their capitalism ain't restricted. They are not restricted. Nancy Pelosi has an ice cream parlor in her house. How restricted is that?
An ice cream closet. You walk in and she's got 41 flavors in there. And she was talking about that during the height of the pandemic. Like, walking to my walk-in ice cream freezer. And it's like,
and you,
really?
Nicole Jangles, voted for her. Like, come on, man. They're putting it in your face. Like, how that song go? I got enough money to put it in her face. Nancy Pelosi is putting it in your face. And so was AOC. You know why I don't like AOC? And what really tipped me over the edge? When she went to that gala and she had on that tax the rich gown. How much do you think it cost to make that gown?
How much it cost to get into the Met?
And what the hell is she doing at a gala for the rich?
It's like $30,000, I think, to even get in there. $30,000 to attend.
She didn't pay. The taxpayers paid. Come on, nigga Bojangle, you paid. That's my new name.
Can you answer this question?
Nigga Bojangles. Hell yes, I pay a fair wage. And that is the difference between, like, for instance, my guy Thomas outside, I give him a certain amount per car. But that was our original agreement. And it kind of changed. And that was on him. But I was like, yo, I'll give you $300 a car. We do 5 cars a week. You make $1,500. That's $75,000 a year. Nigga Bojangles, you're 19 years old. My assistant, I give her $20 an hour to run around. She gets $20 an hour for whatever. She's sitting up there with the air on upstairs. Got her own fridge, everything. She got the sauna outside her room. She balling. She not balling at $20, but she living in a beautiful crib. She driving my S5, which she tore up the bumper on today, blew out the AC. I gotta fix that. But like, yeah, that's a fair wage. But my question is, don't get me started about the women in Cuba. They're cute. Hey man, women all over the world are beautiful. But a fair wage has to be treated that way. That's it. Fruit trees, hell yes. You guys, like, fruit trees, water. Like, we're building a place in Joshua Tree and we're putting pomegranate, avocados, trees on it. We're digging up and putting a lake on it, turning it into the Garden of Eden. So I say, like, yo, if we went to space and we had to start over as society, what would the Garden of Eden look like in space? That's what I'm building in Joshua Tree. Fruit trees. I ain't gonna have naked people running around, not until I put my fence up. But, you rent it out. You do what you want to do with it, as long as you pay your fees. But the trees do help because you can pick a pomegranate off a tree and eat it. You can pick an avocado, but both of those are expensive as hell.
My grandmother, and I see you all talking about China, has a good model of capitalism and socialism. I guess it works. And somebody said, facts, not feelings, that they managed to pull 800 million out of poverty over the last 60 years. That is a huge number. My grandmother and grandfather, they owned a house in Santa Barbara. They got it, I don't know, maybe early 70s, and they remodeled it, and it was prime real estate. Like we could walk to State Street, which is the major street out there. Could walk to the beach, and she had a giant, and this was in the 70s, 80s, giant avocado tree. Imagine what that house is worth now. It was huge. The tree was huge. It was just avocados for days. Man, we didn't know how much wealth was on that tree alone.
Yeah, I go by that house. When I go to Santa Barbara, I ride right up Gillespie Street. It's 7 blocks from the ocean. I ride up it. They think they sold that house for $225,000. That house right now is worth over $1 million. Now, my grandparents sold that house, and then they paid cash for their house in Florida. And then they kept some money to the side. And then Gladys showed up. It's a wrap. You got to protect yourself against Gladys. So what I wish they would have done, and what I would do for my grandkids and my kids, is sell my house and then take that equity and buy investment real estate and then use that. See, because if my grandparents would have bought investment real estate and then put that in an LLC and let it produce revenue, they could have paid their mortgage and then put the other money for other properties. And right now they'd be sitting on $3-4 million. That's it. So, but we can, I don't want to use the word reverse, but we can, I'm going to be careful when I say reverse, because then people start trying to reverse capitalism and all kinds of shit. We can add on or improve to their situation, to what they did. We could do that all day long. All day long. So, and we can start with ourselves. I'm telling you guys, if you don't have a piece of property, one day you're going to find yourself bouncing around. Period. That's it. Because somebody's going to be like, you know what? I want this piece of property. You sitting here and you paying whatever you paying on it, and we think it's worth more. So we're going to buy the landlord out, and we're going to charge you more, or you got to move. That's it.
I was looking at the Sunlight's question, can you grow avocados down south? And it says avocados take well to container culture, and selections in marginal climates can be moved to protect location during cold spells. Aside from Florida, gardeners can grow avocados in South Texas from Mexican race seedlings, while those in warmer coastal regions can grow more cold hardy selections such as, and then it listed. So I guess it just depends on the avocado, but if you got an avocado tree, you are doing well. I love avocados.
And you can buy them. You can buy them already done. When I say done, you can buy little avocado trees. Man, my neighbor has a pomegranate tree, and this tree is just hanging on the outside. So when I go get my car washed, I stop by. Man, I got me a little step ladder over here, and I pomegranate. I pull them. They just sitting, falling to the ground.
So you stealing?
No, they on the public side. Now, I am going to go over there. I said I was going to go over there one day and say, hey, you know what? Because if you let them fall on this side of the street, I can only imagine what you're doing inside, because most of the trees in the yard, right? So, man, I'll buy those pomegranates. What I do is gangster shit, too. I take me those little pomegranates and I cut them in half, and I put them in a lemon squeezer, and I make me a margarita martini. I don't do this regularly, but my point is you could sell pomegranate juice. You can sell pomegranate. Man, look at my house. Right now, it's just me and my assistant. I could have 20 people come over, and I could charge them $50 again, and they can have pomegranate margaritas all night. like we used to do with rent parties. You know what I'm saying? $50, you get margaritas all night. I make a little food and I kick you a little financial knowledge, and I get 20 people up in here. That's $1,000 for the day. Ta-da! Like
That's old.
seriously.
That's old school right there, having a rent party. Because, you know, of course, you guys know what that is. I'm sure people had a rent party because they didn't have the money to pay their rent. So they cook up a little food or whatever and, you know, have a little drinky drink and invite people in and, you know, $5 or whatever it was back then on the door. And you come in and, you know, dance and eat, you know, until it's time to go home. And then people would raise their rent for the following month. And so that is actually a form of group economics.
100%. And I'm reading this comment on the bottom. You got hospital bills. Hey, man, call them and negotiate. Call them and negotiate. Period. And get health insurance. Man, if you're in this country and you get low income, you get health insurance for free. I mean, shit, you in this country and you don't have health insurance, that's on you. Period. Now, unless you're in the middle class and health insurance, I know my health insurance is $800 a month for a ratchet plan, which is insane. But let me ask you this, and I'm going to be as nice as I can about it. If you have hospital bills, which I believe you, where else do you spend money? Because I know people, and they'll say, oh, I have student loan debts. But then I'll see their ass at a fast food restaurant. I see them chilling, balling out. What you doing at the nightclub and you got hospital bills? Or you got student loan debt that's whooping your ass. Where you at? Where your second job? Where your third job? Where your side hustle at? You understand what I'm saying? So you can have those bills. And really, guys, like avoiding being homeless is just about mindset. The days where you could just work a job and come home and save, put a little money in the bank for Christmas time, those days are over, man. The robots is a coming.
Christmas time. I know doggone well people, I mean, you know, there's some people who have, you know, the money or whatever, but I ain't thought about Christmas shopping in forever. Like I'm appalled that if anybody would even expect for me to even go Christmas shopping. It's like, are you kidding me? You think I'm going to go out there and spend hundreds of dollars, you know, on a day when I can save that money? It's just, I don't know. I don't knock it if you celebrate Christmas, but yeah, I'm not doing it.
Man, Christmas to the hell to the no. What I'm doing for my kids this year is we are going somewhere. Speaking of kids, this is my daughter Morgan. She owned me. She must have heard me talking about money. But I'm taking them for an excursion where we could get together and do something cool. And I think you guys should do that.
Hello, Curtis. And let's see here. Be in Forever 2009. How are you doing? And we're going to continue answering your question. And Curtis says, man, I beat myself up because I hear you talking about making money. I get fired up and then I go back to life as usual. I need a fire under my butt. And I think that's probably true for a lot of us. We get motivated. It's like going to church, right? You're running around there with the Holy Ghost and you're going to change your life. You're going to stop drinking and hoeing and all of that. And then come Saturday night again, you're right back in the club drinking and hoeing. So, you know, but there's this saying, or it's a question rather, it says, who motivates the motivator? Like, where do they get their source of information from? And so at some point in time, we got to say, okay, got it. I got the information. Now let me implement the action. Now, a lot of times, you know, it can seem overwhelming, but just think about what can you do? Because my mom used to always say this, take the smallest thing or the easiest thing that you can do that, and then work your way up to the hardest thing. And by that time, when you work on the smallest and the easiest things, you feel accomplished, like, wow, I can do it. And as you move up, it doesn't seem so hard. But the key is just to get started with something. Don't go back home. Sorry if I'm freezing up a little bit, y'all. I was doing all right up until a second ago. But you know, don't go back home or whatever and get off of this and say, oh, okay, you know, business as usual. Just think about what you can do right now. That's, you know, not so intimidating, if you will. And Albie says organic avocados. Yes, indeed. And being Forever 2009, he says, too much to pay on, but I'm planning on going for Chapter 13 bankruptcy and clean that up. I finished paying up a Chapter 13 bankruptcy in March.
You planning on doing it twice? I don't understand.
So are you doing it twice, being forever, or is that the same one? If you could kind of clarify that. And Thunder says, if you live down south, you can grow. Lelia, I think that says, Lila, avocado, and it grows. Zones are 8 through 11, I think. So I have to figure out what zones mean, but I think I kind of get where you're going. And Chantel, he says, a volcanic soil is good for crop growing. Okay. And Dorothy says, I stopped celebrating all of those holidays. Yeah, me too. I'm like, people have to remind me that holidays are even coming up now. I'm like, oh, is Labor Day coming? Oh, I didn't know, you know. Thundy says the Lila avocado was created in California. I think, yeah, there's a lot of avocados out there. Facts Not Feeling says we will be having rent parties in the coming months. This economy is in recession. You're totally right. Gonna be, you know, going over to one house to the next, trying to help everybody pay rent. So yeah, that's if people aren't probably already doing that. Being Forever 2009, he says, I know my main goal is to clean up my credit where it's clean. Yes, clean up your credit is optimal.
Here's something you guys could do, and I understand this rhetoric, and I'm gonna add on to it. Is let's get out of cleaning up credit or filing bankruptcy and cleaning it up. Let's just work on building it, because the problem is when you clean it up, you're not changing the behavior that dirtied it in the first place, and that is where I tell people to go, and that's why I've been successful at helping people with their credit, because I don't try and fix it. Hey man, if those are your bills and you didn't pay them, you should own up to them, period. 100%. 100%. If you borrowed the money on a credit card and you didn't pay it, that's yours. You got to deal with that. You can settle with them, and you guys, creditors are figuring it out. These credit repair companies, oh, you don't got to pay your shit. That's not cool. First of all, it's not cool to the company that loaned you the money, right? So what I would do is I would build on top of change the behavior. Like what I do is you guys do on my phone, I have all my credit cards on my app. I have all the apps on my credit cards. And what I do is every time I get money, what I do is I send money to my savings, my investments, whatever, and I go and I pay these credit cards all the time. I send them $200, $100, $1,000, and I just hit them. Every I go down the line, I got them all on my app, and I just hit them. I send them all money, and I constantly make sure that I put money to the side. I pay on my credit cards. Like I do that stuff first, right? I don't have a lot of nice clothes. I need to go clothes shopping, but I haven't had time to really go buy clothes, even for my trip, because I'm trying to stack money. There's other shit I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to find an apartment building.
I was gonna say, speaking of buying clothes, I buy clothes all the time, but I go to the thrift store. My daughter, she loves to thrift. So we found one in Houston, and don't get me to ask me where it is. I ask her, it's a family thrift or something like that. And so on certain days of the week, they have deals where you can go and buy everything in the store, anything in the store for 25 cents per item. But this shirt here, I like to buy men's shirts, you know, so it records good and stuff. I bought this shirt a couple of weeks back for $2.25. I got a brand new Banana Public, whatever it's called, brand new shirt there for $2.25. Today we went where it's 25-cent day. Each item is 25 cents. I think we bought like, I don't know, 6-7 pieces for $2.15. Some nice stuff. So, you know, you could buy that stuff, but you have to, you know, think about what you're spending your money on. In the thrift store, it's just really people who don't have a need for the stuff anymore. And so they, you know, donate it or whatever, and you buy it back. So that's what I like to do. Now, of course, you know, I buy my underwear new, don't get me, you know, whatever. But, you know, I'm going to buy clothes anyway. So I'm going to go there first to see what's on sale, or if I can, you know, find a nice winter coat. Got it the last time we went, winter coats and jackets for $2.25 a piece. So take them to the cleaners and you have you some nice winter coats. So it's just about, thinking about new ways of doing things to save money.
Yeah, you could do that. It'd be cool is wearing a pair of jeans and a white T-shirt and rolling up to the property that you own, because that's up people. You'll feel better. You'll do better and be better. You roll up to a piece of property, and you are the owner, and you're not wearing Gucci and Louis, but you got 700 Smith Street or this street or that street or whatever, right? And respect to facts and not feelings, I'm gonna address your comment about the banks defraud people all the time. They do, and they're gonna continue, and it's gonna get worse. And you know who they have helping them? People in office. How is it that the banks can do all this shit they do and still be top dollar, top balling? The banks are still in power. With all the corruption, think about 2008. It was all from, first of all, let me even get into that. You guys need to, there's a movie called Margin Call, Too Big to Fail, The Big Short. Watch those 3 movies. It breaks down how banks do their dirt. Period. 100%. Like, here's $100. I take this $100 and I put in the bank. The bank turns around and loans out $900 to everybody in the bank. Off this $100, they've loaned out $900. They're collecting interest income on $900, and all they have is $100 in the bank. How in the hell do you do that? Do you know who wrote those laws? They did. Do you know who protect those laws for them? The politicians. So the banks ain't gonna change. Matter of fact, it's gonna get worse for you. And the bank defrauding somebody has nothing to do with you. Rich people, me, I'm not rich yet, but I'm about to be. My sister, she about to be. Whatever it is, the point I'm making is the banks do what they do, but yet people still get rich. I don't care how dirty the banks are. Matter of fact, I want the banks to be grimy and nasty, Christina Aguilera dirty. You know why? Because I can learn from them, and if it's legal for them, damn it, make it legal for me. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, you know they ain't gonna do that.
You understand what I'm saying? A lot of the things that I've learned to get myself back on my feet, I learned from the banking industry. But see, here's the problem is we got to stop talking about that shit. That ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna never change. The banks, they're fraud. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you, right? I'm rich in spirit too, but when I take my black ass to H&M, they want cash, not Jesus, right? You know what you could do is you could have a spirit that's rich and use that spirit to go out and make moves. You understand what I'm saying? That's what you do with the spirit, right? We got to get like, man, we're running out of time, you guys, and Jesus ain't came back to save us. Allah, Buddha, none of them are back, and people are living in tents. Man, in my neighborhood, there's this dude, and he sleeps on the ground, not even on a tent, just on the ground, shoes, not even next to him, just shoes 20 feet away, sleeps on the ground. And I walk up to him and I'm like, yo, man, can I help you? He just looks at me crazy. And I'm just like, and he'll reach his hand out and I give him cash. And I'm just thinking, what would it take me to get this guy cleaned up, bring him to my house, get him to a hotel, get him cleaned up, and get him going and straighten his life out? It would take me days and thousands, and it would take me forever to get this dude up and running. And the only thing that's going to allow me to get his ass off the street is capitalism. Because I can buy a building, I can use that income, put some money in my pocket, and help this dude get his black ass off the street. But if you restrict my capitalism, then you start telling me what I can do with my finances, then I'm going to be restricted. Do you guys understand? Do you know what Joe Biden did as soon as he got in office? He hired IRS agents to come after not rich people, because rich people got accountants and lawyers.
And he hired IRS agents, and they packing. He armed them.
And they ain't gonna shoot no rich people. They ain't gonna shoot nobody. They gonna shoot your poor black ass. That's who they gonna shoot and get away with it. Because they do it all the time. And now it's gonna be with motive. He's behind on his taxes, and he started acting up. He showed up, he reached for something, and we reached for something. That is who you voted for, nigga Bojangles. That dude that is coming to get the people that put him in office. That is restricted capitalism. And let me tell you something about China. I've been to Asia. Those people in China, capitalism and socialism, they have a mix, but the government tells them what to do. When they say take your ass in the house and it's 2 o'clock and you be in the house at 2 or 2:01, they are caning and throwing your ass in jail. Look what they did to Jack Ma for just making a comment.
Did they find him? Did he resurface?
We don't even know. His stock price is like $80 or something, from 300 to like 80 or I don't know where. It's down there somewhere.
So they still haven't found him.
No, they found him, but like he's muffled because he criticized the government and they were like, lock him down, shut us, finance, whatever they got to do to him. That is restricted capitalism. The United States, we have the best system in the world to make it. If you cannot make $1 and start a business in the US, you take your black ass over to China and see what you're dealing with. Go to Cuba and try and start a business. The Cuban government says, okay, so here's how this works. You start a business and we take 90% of the profits. You keep 10. That's how it works in Cuba. You want a cigar factory? They take 90% of the crop revenue. You keep 10. That's how it works. And I love Jack Ma. I like his hustle.
I think a lot of people have a problem with Jack Ma. And yeah, I don't know who he is. He is the owner of Alibaba. So yeah, he is like a Chinese Jeff Bezos, if you will. But he had made a statement saying that, oh gosh, don't give me the line, but basically that people should work more than the 40 hours, 7 or 5 days a week. I think he said they should work like 6 days or 90 hours a week or something. They should have 1 day off or something crazy like that, 12-hour days and this, that, and the other. So a lot of people in China, are pretty mad about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's the Chinese Jeff Bezos, if you will.
You guys, you know what? Jack Ma is 100% right. Let's do the math. And some of you guys need to get out of your feelings. Number one, there are 24 hours in a day. There's 7 days. There's 168 hours in a week. Subtract 90, and you have 78 hours left after you go to work. Divided by 7 days, that is 11 hours a day. Can I ask your black ass a question? What the hell are you doing with 11 hours a day? You sleep 6 to 8. What are you doing with the other 5 to 3? It takes an hour to eat. Sex only takes 20 minutes. And that's with the baby oil and everything. So what are you doing with
the 2 minutes?
Okay, some of y'all is 2 minutes. Some of us is 45. But you get the point. What are you doing with the extra 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 10 hours? That is the problem. You guys hating on Jack Ma because he said take your ass to work. It's hard to work a 9 to 5 and get rich unless you're saving and saving and saving. Right? 90 hours ain't shit. 90, come on, y'all. Seriously. What's 90 hours? What's 90 divided by 6 days a week? Like, seriously. 15 hours a day. You still got 9. Plus the other day that you're not doing shit on. You telling me you can't? Come on, you guys. You wake up at 6, 7 o'clock, you get going. 7 to 7 is what? 12 hours. You eat, you do something, and you ain't gonna be grinding it out, but work, you just be planning your day, planning your business, accounting. That stuff is considered work.
And I will say this too, and I'm sure a lot of y'all, I see y'all saying, no, speak for yourself. And not really liking that at all. But, for a lot of you, I'm sure a lot of y'all work for yourselves too. Sometimes I'm like, it would just be easier for me to just get my ass up, clock in 8 hours a day, and come home. But when you work for yourself, you do gotta get up early. Like I tried to sleep in. It's to no avail. I just don't even know how to do that anymore. I'm up at like 5, sometimes 4:30, and I'm sitting at my desk trying to be by at least 8 o'clock because I got to exercise. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but it's that constant. Okay, now you got to do this. Now you got to do that. Push yourself. Okay, now you got to do this. Now you got to do that. And I would love to sit on the couch all day, and I'll pass it by. I'm like, nope. Take yourself to the office. You got to do this. You got to do that. So the point that I'm making is sometimes, if you work for yourself, you're like, it would just be easy. 5 days a week, punch clock, come home, veg out, watch TV, get up, do it 4 more times, have a weekend off. And that way you know what you're going to do instead of you having to say, okay, where is the money today? Because you have to hunt for the money and, take care of yourself essentially. So I don't know. Sometimes that, because if you're working for yourself, you're working 90 hours a week anyway. I have to, for me, honestly, just to keep it real with you, I have to make myself take a day off to where I don't put no makeup on. Not that I wear much of it anyway. I don't even do nothing to my hair. It's up in a ponytail, looking stupid. Take a shower, obviously. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything today because it's constantly grinding every day, all day long. So sometimes it's, I don't know, 90 hours don't seem that bad at a job. I'm just saying.
So you guys, you have to grow up. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You got to grow up. There's no other way about it. Man. I'm mad at you. Man.
How you doing, hooligan? Sure.
Practice your breathing. Practice your breathing. Some of you men out there, Minuteman, just breathe. That'll buy you 5-10 minutes. Anyways, so back to the subject. You have to be responsible. The banks aren't going to change their behavior. Politicians ain't going to change their behavior. They're not giving out reparations. We know this. They're not doing it. So until we get our own money, we don't have the power to ask for reparations. It ain't coming. Come on, you guys, seriously, just think about this. What if they came out and said reparations is a coming? How long would it take? Like student loan relief. They passed that, but how long is it going to take for you to see it? The good thing is it's a debt, so it's out there hanging on its own, minus your little payments. But and I'm telling you guys, the people in China do not have power. They are not empowered. Those people are one wrong move away from disappearing. I'm not talking about poof. What happened to Wang Ji? Shit, I don't know. He was here yesterday. He started speaking up about the government, and Wang Ji is missing. That's how it works in China. You guys do not. China, man. I have friends from China. One of my girls that I take airline, lessons with, she's from China, and she goes, Walter. People talk about if they really went to China and they saw what it was like, they'd come back here in a hurry. So, but can we do this for 1 second? China has nothing to do with homelessness in the United States. I'm glad I'm not your boss either, because I'd be waking your ass up at 5 a.m. talking about let's move. And I don't want to be your boss. I want you to be your own boss. Seriously, fuck that. Man, listen, once I became older and I became an adult and I got my 20s and 30s, I got to the point where I'm too old to have another grown-ass man telling my grown ass what to do. Hey, man, based on the way I feel, I'm going to determine if you can feed your family or not. Because if I got an attitude and I want to lay you off, what you going to do? So no, man, you guys, this is real life. And I don't know if other races do this, but I know Black people, we reminisce with pain. We love pain for whatever reason. We're talking about reparations in China and go back to African. And we started this shit talking about homelessness. We cured homelessness an hour ago. We talking about China and shit. China, they don't have a homeless population. They don't. Those people are too afraid not to work. Shit. Those people in China, man, they're not laying around doing nothing. They are working. They wake up and they work. And you guys, I thank God for China. On the business tip, because I can buy these glasses from China for $2 and sell them and put my name on them. and sell them for $20. If I was Shaq, I could sell them for $100. I mean, damn. You guys seriously look in your house. Everything in your house, most of the things made from China, from your your hood range to your cups, man, to everything, to this phone. What do you think Apple? Okay, this ain't an Apple. This is an Apple. Where do you think Apple get their phones from? China.
In Africa.
Africa, they go dig the mines in Africa, steal the shit, and take it over to China and make it. It's like, damn. None of this shit has nothing to do with making sure, you know, the best way not to become homeless, the best way to help the homeless, not to become one. Period.
Mother Teresa said that.
Yeah.
And Mother Teresa, well, you know, y'all know Mother Teresa, she was a nun, and she worked with, you know, the poor all the time. And she said that's the best way to help the homeless is not to become one. So, you know, because like Walter said, when you're not homeless and you know, are making money, then you can help other people. I mean, how many of us have helped homeless people? You know, and that's because, you know, to some degree, not to say that we're doing rich or anything, but we're in a position to where we can do that. I love helping homeless people. It is my absolute pleasure to do that. I just like it brings me joy. That is the only reason I even carry cash when I do, is so that I can give it to them. You know, and again, I'm not saying I'm doing well or wealthy or nothing like that, but I feel like I'm going to go home. I'm going to be able to sit down and I'm going to be able to eat what I want for the most part. And I feel grateful in that way. And so if I could just help somebody who may not be able to do that day, then it does bring me joy. That's one of the one things that I do enjoy doing is helping people who are less fortunate.
Yeah, but you got to protect yourself, man. You guys, like, I'm afraid for our people. Like, fuck. Like, the world is changing right now to the point where, like, Black people, they go to Ghost of Asia. She's back there floating. She's going to check on her money. But Black people, we are in trouble. We in our feelings. We got all these emotions that don't have shit to do with the price of tea in China. We are doomed if we don't move. All I ask everybody on this thing to do is work on buying you a piece of property. Be it a piece of land or a home or a shack or whatever. Just own some shit. If things get worse, you can always go back to your shack. Period. That lake house we have in Texas, I swear to God, if shit got rough in California and I was homeless out here, where do you think I would go? And where do you think D would go? And we'd be 20 of us living in that house. We got a lake view. We got a boat dock, jet skis. We can grow our food. The cost of living in Texas is next to nothing.
It wouldn't be like wasn't the first time it was damn near 20 of us living in a house.
You know what I'm saying? I don't. Hey, listen. Sometimes you do what you got to do, but that's why you do that. Buy you something. Build your credit, not fix, clean, but build. Because cleaning your credit, you still have the old habit. I hear people say, "I'm gonna fix my credit," and what? You gonna wreck it again? No. One of my boys hit me with that. Man, I'm gonna fix my credit. I ain't gonna pay none of that shit. I said, listen, nigga Bojangles, you gonna have the same bad credit you had because the behavior hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. Period. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and I agree with that. Facts and feelings. I have studied Cuba, especially in regards to Fidel Castro and Che Guevara and what they did with Bautista, you know, when they ousted him, and how things improved by using socialism. Because before Fidel came into office, you know, it was, you know, the super rich, and then it was super poor. And of course, we know what happened once Castro came in and Che Guevara. They actually improved the way of life for Cubans. So I do understand where you're going with that. I'm not really familiar with China and how they do things, but I will study it because I like to know how they do it. So thank you for challenging me to do that. No, thank you, Damon. Yeah, I mean, I just think we should do what we can. If you can, you know, if you don't want to, that's fine too. But we should help people who are less fortunate. It doesn't have to be anything major. It could just be something small. I told you guys that my daughter and I go to the thrift store, and as we were walking out today, I said, you know what? When it starts to get cold, we're gonna go on 25-cent day, or even $2.25 day, or 50-cent day, and we're gonna buy as many jackets and coats as we can, and give them to people who are unhoused, because in Texas, it's freaking freezing in the wintertime. I mean, it's cold. And so she says, that's a good idea. She says, but when is the last time, do you know where any homeless people are? I said, no, but I know, because, I don't get around Houston a lot, still learning. I said, but I'll figure it out. I know people who do. I said, let's go and buy all these coats, as much as we can, these winter clothes. And so we can give them to people who may have to sleep on the street, or unsheltered when it's cold. And so that, that's just something that I want to do. It doesn't take a lot of money, but
it don't.
They get it. You could buy a jacket for 25 cents. Why not? So let's see here. Let me get to these questions.
Man, let me ask.
He says, man, who is that girl running up and down the stairs and around your house? All you can see is hair bouncing from side to side. That's Asia.
I can tell you, she is, I don't know. Asia, is that you? Who's that? Oh, it's Tom. It's my Mexican man. He out there getting down. So no, that is, some of you guys be killing me. That's the girl that lives with me. So that's the story I was telling you long time ago. Oh, you talking about that was my daughter-in-law. I have nothing to do with her clothes. But the point I was making you guys earlier is I was telling you the story about the Airbnb guest that was living with me, that was in between homes and going through a bunch of wild, crazy shit in the car. Shit was everywhere. It just looked like, God damn. I know, I haven't never gone through that, but I've been close to having shit in the car and having to go change and go back in the house because you know what I'm saying? Like that hotel life. So going through that shit, and that was a year ago. And so now she is my assistant.
And Big Shovel, how are you doing today? Says, question, can land be taken from a citizen in an eminent domain situation?
Yes and no. They'll pay you for it. They'll cut you a check. And you guys, eminent domain just means they want it. And the government, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. That's the restricted capitalism. That's your government that says, oh, you want that? We want this land. We want to build a strip mall, and we're going to cut you a check, and you can't do nothing about it. Now, there is an example of eminent domain in Riverside. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where that McDonald's is on Madison right there, where they built that Home Depot and the McDonald's. They built a wall around this dude, and this fool live in the McDonald's and Home Depot parking lot. Good luck selling that shit. So, yeah, eminent domain, but eminent domain is not a homeless thing. When they cut you a check for eminent domain, when they take your property eminent domain, they cut you a check. I wish they would eminent domain my lake house. Like, you know what? We're going to put a water slide on your shit. I'll be like 600,000. Slip slide away. Matter of fact, give me an annual pass. I wish Nigga Bojangles would swing through my Joshua Tree, be like, we building an airport on this property. I'd be like, hallelujah, praise Jesus, Allah, and Muhammad at the same time. Because they're going to cut me a check and then I can move and do something else with it. There is nothing wrong with having money in your pocket. And you guys, you know who the good tenants are? One who cares. I appreciate you bringing it up. Now, this is going to suck, but I'm going to say it. The good tenants are the girl with the long hair running around in shade. It's the ghost of Asia. She working hard. She's not just in here kicking it with long hair. She picking up work now. She got a little notebook. She got her own business now, so she counting her shit. So what was I saying before the ghost of so the property that she is, again, if you want to see it, you can go to Verbal Herb. She's on the website. She's our model for our clothing line. This right here you can buy. She's doing all kind of shit, actually. But you guys, eminent domain, if they cutting you a check, you got to go. But just go put it somewhere else. But eminent domain is not making you homeless. That's not our issue.
Yeah, you weren't talking about that. You were talking about tenants, good tenants.
Oh, good tenants. Thank you. I get distracted with somebody walking behind me. The good tenants are going to be those people that were trying to buy a home that changed their mind or the interest rates went up too much and now they need to rent. Right? You know how you find a good tenant? Say, give me your bank statements. I need to see, first of all, we need first and last, and I need to see your bank statements, and I need to see that you make 3 times the rent. And matter of fact, I need to see where you're saving money.
Okay, let's have that conversation really quick.
No, that's
this,
fine.
This 3 times the rent thing. Most people don't have 3 times the rent or make 3 times the rent. So let's say you're living in California. The rent is $2,500. What's 3 times the rent? You'd have to be making what, $750, so $7,500 a month. How many people are actually making that?
It's $90,000 a year. You could do it. Now it's not easy. You guys, going from $30,000 to $90,000 is a stretch. It is hard work. I tell you, but it's easy to go from. Then once you get there, you can go to 200. You guys, only person that's making $30,000 and $90,000, the difference between them is chances of that $90,000 person is probably working more, or they got a degree or something that's given that position, or they have a trade or a craft or something like that. That's it. You guys, the girl that keep walking up and down the stairs with the long hair, she can make 90 grand this year. She could do it like all day. Me and her have this conversation all the damn time. Like, yo, you in the automobile business. You could get in, fix it up once a week. That's $1,000 in your pocket. That's 50 grand right there. You know what I'm saying? We have a clothing line. Shirts are only $29. She's running that. You know what I'm saying?
But realistically speaking, that's not the case for everybody. I get where you're going. $90,000, depending on what you do in the hustle and stuff, is in the larger scheme of things, is not that hard to make. However, there's a lot of people, like a lot of young people, for an example, they won't leave the house. When I say the house, they got to live with mom and dad or whatever, because most of them aren't making 3 times the rent.
But they don't. But if you're living with your mom and your daddy, what are you doing with the money you have? Where's it? Where, like Morgan, my daughter, I got to call her back when I'm done with this. I said to my son, Morgan and Evan, my son and my daughter, and I had a heart-to-heart with them. We went to the lake a couple weeks ago. And I said, you know what, you guys, both of you guys are well taken care of. You have great credit scores. You have money saved, and you can do anything you want to do. And if you fail to make a mistake, I will be right here to back you up. I don't care how many times you fail. I will be right here and back you up. And a lot of kids have parents like that. We want to see our kids do better. And she can make 90,000 modeling. And she got a modeling agency too. We working on all that shit. So yes, you can make it. You just got to work harder. But a lot of these kids, they are screwing the system up. Because you have a parent in your life that's saying, I got your back. You come out guns blazing. And if you miss, we'll give you more bullets. So kids get no sympathy from me. If you're a kid in your house and you got your parents and they got your back like that, I have zero sympathy for you. There's no reason why you shouldn't be out changing the world, making money or doing something. And I don't care about depression and none of that dumb shit you guys talk about. You can't be depressed and move at the same time. I've tried it. The other day, I was going through I have these emotions where I'm feeling like, fuck this life. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I'm lost. I'm confused. I still get those thoughts. Often I get these thoughts like, what am I doing here? I even said to myself one day, if I was dead, I wouldn't even know it. So what the hell am I worried about? Like, I have those thoughts too. Like, if I'm dead, I ain't gonna know it. You know what I'm saying? What am I worried about? So I started having peace with things like that. But I go through those things too. And then I have to snap my ass out of it. And I'll tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I had a bunch of cars and all of them had a problem. And I'm like, damn, I got all these cars wrapped up and my money's all tied up in these cars. And I was feeling like, man, this is it. I'm done. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. I was like, going to have to get on the pole, swing around to buy an alternator for one of my cars. That's
you're going to be broke if you got to do that. You're going to be broke.
I'm just making the point is sometimes, and if you guys own a business, you understand having cash flow, having capital and equipment, but not having the cash readily available like you want it. Business owners, we go through that. You hear people say they got $1 million to their name, but they can't rub 2 nickels together. I know what that's like, because when you run in a business, you always taking the shot and you always taking the shot. And so sometimes you miss. The point being, I was feeling like that. And I was like, no, brother, get your ass up and get moving. So boom, I had one of my cars, I dropped the price. Boom, cash on the table. I dropped another one, cash on the table. And so then I had 2 stacks of cash, and then boom, 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 before you know it, back at it. That's it. But when I was going through depression and those emotions, I just started moving. Oh, I'm gonna drop the price. I'm gonna do this. Oh, nigga Bojangles owes me $400. I was like, hey, nigga Bojangles, where's my $400? I ain't got it all. I got 2. I said, I'll take it. And I'll swing back around for the other 2. I mean, so start moving. Do not let these kids lay on the ground mentally. You are screwing your children by telling them it's okay to be mentally, oh my God, I don't know what to do with myself. Here's what you can do for yourself. Follow me. I told my assistant, just do what I'm doing. Follow me. That's it. I don't have all the answers to the world. And me and you and us talking probably make you more depressed. But if you just pull the trigger, sooner or later, you're going to hit something. That's it. And you keep going. And I know, and I'm not, my sister, she'll tell you, whatever emotional issues she has, I don't hear about them that much anymore. You know why? Because she's running a business now. She had a car outside that my Mexican homie is working on. So her money is tied up outside, and she's trying to get his ass here on time and get that car sold so she can put some money in her pocket. She ain't said a goddamn thing about depression. Because now she got something to do. And that's what it is, people.
I will say this, because I don't want to discount, depression and anxiety and things like that, because it is real. And I think Walter is speaking to it being real because, sometimes he suffers from it. But I've suffered from it here and there, like everybody. I've gone through some things that was very depressing. But I will agree that if having a purpose, finding what your purpose is and going after that, busying yourself with pursuing that purpose. I don't care if you want to learn how to climb a tree. That is your purpose. You get up every day and you figure out how to climb that tree. And so staying busy and figuring out how to chase your purpose and reach your goals. They don't have to be big goals, because a lot of times we think that these goals have to be big and, just giant, just to, say we're doing something. Sometimes it could just be, you know what? I ran around the block once without stopping. Or I got up early today and actually put my feet on the ground at 5 o'clock. And then I went about my day. So it don't have to be big things, but the point that I'm making is find out what it is you are supposed to be doing in this life and go after it. But you cannot, and I'm going to repeat this, cannot figure out what your goal is if you are living a motionless life, watching TV all day, on the social media all day. Like Walter has a good point. The busier I became, the less I'm on social media. Like I go hours sometimes without even going on social media. The most I go on it is like if I'm laying down at night and I need to probably try to go to sleep and I just can't or whatever. But when you're busy, you don't even think about, what you have going on. Now, listen, I want to say also, that doesn't mean that you're so busy that you don't deal with your mental health. You deal with your mental health, but you don't let your mental health and the things that have you depressed consume you, because it'll be too hard to climb out of that. So I impress upon you, in fact, I'm begging you, figure out why you were put here on this earth and pursue that until you die. Les Brown, who's a big-time motivational speaker, he says the wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard. He says because there are patterns, ideas, dreams, and a whole host of things that made it 6 feet deep with people and did not get realized because whatever reason, they didn't pursue that, right? And one of my biggest fears, and I actually wrote an article about this, I'll try to find it one day, is regret. I tell you guys this often, I envision myself on a porch as an older woman. I'm old now, but older woman. And I'm sitting there and I'm rocking and I'm thinking about the things that I wanted to do, but I didn't do it for whatever reason, whether it was fear or excuses or whatever it was. I think about how would I feel as that older woman thinking maybe I don't have the physical mobility anymore to go do those things. Why didn't I do it when I can? You know, they said, I think it's in the Bible that the youth is wasted on the young, because when you're young, you have all of the, you know, for the most part, stamina, momentum to run and jump, and you have more energy. You're a little bit more alive. But typically, when we're young, we do waste that youth making excuses, and then when we get older and wiser, we're like, wow, I wish I could do those things, but maybe physically I can't do that. And so it's never too late, but do not allow depression to set in, because what happens is, I feel like I'm on a soapbox now, but it's very important. The rumination starts happening. You start thinking about the what ifs and the shouldas and the couldas and the wouldas, and it doesn't allow you to actually take action. My mom, God rest her soul, I used to always talk about all these self-help books I'm reading. I'm doing this. And she's like, well, when are you going to start doing any of it? Like, that's good. You're reading all these self-help books, but how is it helping you if you ain't doing the stuff it's telling you to do? I kid you not. I was so mad she said that to me, but she was right. Like, it's just a bunch of useless knowledge if I'm not using it. So I don't know, guys.
Get out of the tub. I'll give you this analogy. Me, when I'm in the shower and the hot water's there, and I try not to be in there too long because I don't want to waste water and electricity, but I try to get a lot of my thoughts. But the problem I have getting out of the shower, because it's warm in the shower, and then you got to get out, and then it's cold. Or you taking a warm bath, and you got to get out, and it's cold. A lot of you in self-help world are dreaming, and you in the tub, in the shower, you need to get out, turn the water off, get in the cold for a few minutes so you can heat up the house at 82 degrees. You can do what you want to do. Get out, and you can wrap yourself up and get moving. I put a quote on Facebook. It says, How do I turn $40 into $400? Put $40 in the tank and take your ass to work, or something crazy like that. And it made so much sense. Somebody got mad at me somebody sent me a DM like, I just shut the hell up with your dumb ass, nigga Bojangles. What is your problem? That was a perfect quote. Get up and get to work. That's it. And depression leaves. And I know a lot of people that are homeless, because that's what we started the show, are depressed and they're going through a lot of stuff. But you guys, some of those people need a leg up. But if you do not focus on yourself, you will become one of them. I promise you. And it does, even people that go homeless, it's not like sometimes it's just something happens to them. All of a sudden they can't make rent and they got to go. So what do? They got to leave. You understand what I'm saying? Or something pops up, changes in their life. What are they going to do? So you need to be stacking money, building your credit, not cleaning, but building. And you know what? You mentioned North Dakota. Shit, I might check it out.
Yes, indeed.
I don't have a problem with North Dakota. I mean, I don't know. It don't sound safe.
I sound white. How you doing? The Black is Beauty. I hope you're having a great day. He says, I find that I have a fear of failure, a fear of success, so I don't push myself. I play it extremely safe. You know, I'm one of those people too. I play it extremely safe, but I've found in the last couple of years that playing it extremely safe has not gotten me where I want to go to be. And a lot of times we play it extremely safe because we do have a lot of intrepidation of what will people say, or what if I'm not successful. But my motto is, but did you die? If I did not die, I can always do it again. You can always come back financially. There's never enough of more money. But failure is actually part of success. You can't be successful unless you know what failure is like, because failure actually is the goal, I guess the measuring stick, if you will, for correction. Okay, the last time I did it this way and I failed miserably, but now I know what to do, so I'm going to correct and do it this way. I mean, everybody who's somebody in life will tell you, oh, you scared of failing once? How about 10 times? I failed every time I tried to do it. I mean, Thomas Edison, even though he, ripped off that of Eli Tesla, or whatever it was, you know, but he failed a whole bunch of times. Michael Jordan failed a bunch of times. It's like, it's just so many stories of people who failed. One of my favorite success stories is that of Sidney Poitier. He says that when he was younger, he came over, where is he, from the Bahamas or something like that. He came over and he wanted to be an actor. So he went to, for an acting job. He said, the director said, what do you do? He says, well, I'm a dishwasher. He says, don't quit your day job. You will never be successful. You will never work in this industry. So he said he went back and washed those dishes with a vengeance, with it on his mind that I'm going to prove him wrong. And he became the first Black man or person, probably, I think, to win, best actor or whatever. And so the point that I'm making is he had every reason to fail. He's an immigrant. He's a dishwasher. He's got this white man, this uppity, stank attitude white man who works in the industry telling him you ain't going to be nobody. He had every reason to say, well, you know what, you're right. Statistically speaking, you're right. But he went and he dug deeper. And so sometimes we really got to find our why, and our why has to be bigger than our fear of failing. It has to be. Like, I go running, I fail every time because I'm like, I'm going to run the whole time. I run most of it, but I don't run the whole thing, but I don't quit. I don't say, well, I'm tired, I'm just not going to do it. I'm like, I'm going to catch my breath, and then I'm going to keep on going. But eventually, I'll keep running. I'll do it nonstop. But how will we know if we don't try? I mean, so I get it. I totally get it, the Black community. I totally get it.
Just try something. And you guys, you got to block people out. You got to, like, the reason most people don't try something is because somebody close to them is negative. I know. It sucks to have somebody, especially in your relationship, your friends, if their job is to criticize and be negative because they can't see themselves doing it, so they criticize you. It's just how it's how people are. One thing I notice about successful people, they rarely criticize people. Because you know why? Because they know what it's like. Some of my friends, some of my richest friends, some of my friends that ball out, I mean, make millions. They're like, man, I remember back when. One of my buddies like, Walter, I was in your spot. I know where you are, and I know if you do what you're doing, you're going to be where I'm at. And then you can help somebody else. But it's just, I cannot tell you guys, when I started Verbal Herb, how many people told me not to do it? Oh, stupid, you got to start a clothing line. Okay. But now you go to Verbal Herb, the website is up, and you can buy your shirt today. I'll send you a note, or Asia, the girl with the long hair, she'll send you a message, whatever. It's up. And all we got to do now is promote it. And every time I open my mouth, somebody said, what do you do? I have a clothing line. Oh, clothing line, what you mean? T-shirts? No, nigga Bojangles. It's a clothing line. It's clothes, right? T-shirt is clothing, right? Or whatever it is. This candle belongs to Lit. This is our candle. We made this candle upstairs. So people will laugh at you, but you just keep going. Even when I bought that lake house. D, I don't know if you laughed. I don't know. D didn't laugh, but she was like, be careful.
I'm the one that found the house.
I know you found the house. No, but what was? Oh, we were on the podcast that time, and people like, be careful, watch out for the whites. And I was like, man, I'm going over there anyway. I don't know where you can buy a lake house on the lake for $300,000, but I'm going, and I'm willing to risk it. I drove fast, and I got there, man. White people, they would come. Oh, how you doing? Oh my God, you coming to dinner? It's happy hour. Don't you know? You met Peggy. God dang. I had to beat her off with a stick. But the point I'm making, you guys, is just pull the trigger. And if it don't work, pull it again. Pull it again. Michael Jordan, if you watch The Last Dance, it's a tearjerker. He just kept going. And do you know Michael Jordan was cut from his 10th grade basketball team? He was cut. The coach was like, you're no good. The greatest of all time to ever touch a basketball was cut from his basketball team 2 years before entering college. He is the greatest. Even Kobe, Kobe was one of the greatest, but Kobe was like, this is the greatest ever to touch a ball, was cut from his basketball team. I watched him in game 6. Whew. I hate the way he did the Phoenix Suns, him and Paxton, but man, I'm glad it happened from the greatest. So you guys have to just, You have to behave like that. And we'll end with this. We save your money. Instead of buying that purse, buy you something that's going to pay out an income to support the payment on that purse. Do that.
And Eunice, I hope I said hello to you earlier, but if I didn't, I'm going to say it again. You said my mother just passed away a week and a half ago. Funeral is on Saturday. I am so proud of my mother, of the life that she lived. She accomplished so much. And I want to extend my deepest condolences to you on the loss of your mother. The loss of a mother is something that is unexplainable. We lost our mother 2016, and it really, feels like yesterday sometimes. And so I will say to you again, I'm so sorry. It's nothing like living without your mom. And people say to you, "Oh, you'll get over it." No, you won't. You'll never get over the loss of your mom. You just learn how to live without her. So again, my condolences to you. So my prayers are to you and your family, for much comfort, because I know that it's so difficult. It really is. So,
make your mama proud.
Yes.
That's what you do. You follow her lead, her instructions, and that's what you guys do. You guys make our ancestors proud. And you guys, I'm telling you, just call everybody you know and say, "Hey, we're buying a piece of property." Buying a piece of property, put it somewhere and put your RV on it, or your bus, or whatever. I tell you, the greatest feeling in the world is owning something. Because no matter what happens to me, I don't care if I ever go broke, or if, I don't know, whatever. Something happened to me, I know I got a piece of property I could go and live on. And I can work at Starbucks, pay for me a little RV, and go live on it. That's it. And I would have a place to live, and I'd be in a better position than most people on planet Earth. Could have a place to live with running water. Yes, Peggy is white, man, but she came over. She tried to hook me up with her girlfriend. She was like, "Man, whew, I was scared." I told her, I said, "I was scared of you guys. I'm afraid of the whites. My friends told me not to come up in here." She's like, "Oh, that's everybody say that because we in Texas, we racist." Now, I don't get it twisted. I know. I'm sure there's some flags, some burning crosses over in my neighborhood, but I don't hang out at night over there, right? When the sun go down, I go in. Anyways, you guys, so yeah, that's cool. Just take our advice, build your credit, buy something, even if it's small. Start with a little piece of property. That's it.
Yes, indeed. So yes, and hello, only Pamela's way. And Brother Damon, if I didn't already say hello to you, says True Talk Moms passed away November 2021. Rest in power, moms. Yeah, I mean, whew, it's like we really, we appreciate our moms, but you don't really appreciate her, I think, until she's gone. Especially like I talk to my mom every day. And even sometimes now, like if I hear something, some news, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna call I can't call my mom." That was the one thing I really had to adjust to. Because like when I would be in California and stuck in traffic everywhere you go, I'd be stuck in traffic and I'd be talking to my mom the whole time, And so.
And she could talk. Lord
yes.
have mercy. She is long-winded.
But she, as we know, moms give the great advice, the best advice, for the most part. A lot of times it ain't what we want to hear, but it's what we need to hear. And so when your mom is not here, I'm telling you, and y'all know that the ones that don't have your mama, there is like you could talk to a lot of people, but it ain't nothing like talking to your mama, I swear for God. And I tell people all the time, if your mama is still here, you better figure out a way to get along with her, because one of these days you're gonna wish you had an argument with her, or she would say something that's a little bit short or whatever to you, but like, "Can you say it again?" Because you just you just miss your mom in every way, shape, and form. I swear. So please, if your mom is here, cherish that woman. Because there'll be a time that you wish that you did. So,
and if you don't have a mom, or your mom ain't around, find somebody to be a mother figure. Find somebody to be a father figure. That's it. Your parents don't have to be around for you to have a mother and father figure. And honestly, that's what a lot of people are missing. It's okay to have 4 or 5 moms and dads. I mean, they're called mentors. And we have to stop, and I'll end with this, judging. I mean, we got to start judging them. My mom and dad made some crazy mistakes that you guys will never, ever could you ever hear about. But even all the crazy shit they did, I'm glad they got together. I'm glad they had me, because any mistake that they made, the greatest thing they ever did was have me.
Me.
And I can help them fix everything else. I mean, that's what it is. Sometimes, lemons suck, but lemonade with a little brown sugar is cracking.
Yes, indeed. So, Pioneer, I'll leave with your question. It says, hey, Queen, have you ever had a dream about hearing something juicy and running to tell your parents, but then wake up and realize that they passed on? Yep. I mean, I even do it in my waking hours. I want to tell my mama something. I'm like, well, she's not here, but, I know she's here, energy-wise and spirit-wise. So my mom is still, speaking to me when I need her to, as far as, certain things. So, and then Black is Beauty says, I feel like an orphan, but my dad is still alive. I had a routine of waking up early in the morning and talking to her. I miss that. Yes, our father's still alive too. My dad, I talk to him just about every day. And I love him, to life. I'm going to go see him next week. And even with as much as I can confide in my dad and, and talk to him every day, it still ain't nothing like your mama. And I guarantee you, he would say the same thing about, being able to talk to his mom, who's obviously not here anymore. But yes. So anyway, we love and appreciate y'all. We're going to get out of here. The next time you'll see me, it'll be with Donovan. He's in the DR somewhere. Hopefully he's not getting in too much trouble. So that'll be the live show. Of course, I think I'll put out a video here and there in between the time that y'all see us. And thank you all, members and everybody, for being here. We also have a way of donating. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal if you want to. Please, at the very least, like the video. Become a subscribe if you haven't already. So we'll see y'all. Thank you, and great show to you all. We could not do this without you. Pioneer, you say, especially during the pandemic, wishing my parents were still here to talk about what was happening and had they ever saw anything like that when they were younger. Yep. And Monet says, yep, like that girl. At the end of The Imitation of Life, you will be crying with regret. Yes, great movie, by the way. Yes, Damon. So we will see y'all. Dorothy, everybody, y'all have a great evening and stay safe out there. Peace.